British lawmakers are furious over the way Prime Minister Theresa May introduced a bill to begin the process of leaving the European Union, the split better known as the Brexit. May's government is giving members of Parliament less than 2 weeks to study the legislation. It comes 2 days after the country's Supreme Court ruled that Parliament must have a say in the mechanics of the Brexit, which voters approved in a controversial referendum last year. When Prime Minister May meets with President Trump at the White House tomorrow, the Brexit and its ramifications will be topic A on their agenda. Tonight, my colleague Brett Baer brings us a preview of the new president's first meeting with a foreign leader from the perspective of the British ambassador to the United States.
James, thank you. We are at the British ambassador's residence ahead of the Prime Minister arriving here in Washington. She is in Philadelphia, and we are talking with Ambassador Kim Darroch. Ambassador, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much for coming to the residence. Welcome, and thank you for having me on our show.
Is this a big moment, this meeting that will happen Friday between Prime Minister May and President Trump?
I think it is a big moment. It's the first meeting between the two of them. They're both comparatively new in office, the Prime Minister since last summer, the President since a week ago. There's an awful lot to talk about. There's a special relationship to preserve and strengthen. There are a lot of issues around the globe that they need to discuss together. So, yes, we're extremely glad and grateful to be the first into the White House after the President takes office, and we're excited about the visit.
That special relationship includes a gift that has been in the Oval Office before, the official bust of Winston Churchill.
Yes, it does. It's sitting here at the residence at the moment. There's been a bust of Winston Churchill in the White House since 1965, when it was presented by actually the friends of Winston Churchill to President Johnson. This bust that is going to return to the White House was requested by President Bush in 2001, when the other one was away for restoration. It was loaned to him for his duration in office, came back here afterwards, and we are delighted, thrilled that President Trump has asked for it to go back into the Oval Office. It's a great moment.
How is President Trump, do you think, being received around the world?
I can only speak for the UK, and the British government is excited about President Trump's arrival in office. We think we have a great opportunity to work together, both on strengthening the bilateral relationship and on tackling together the challenges that we face around the world. So our attitude as a government is extremely positive, and we welcome him into office, and we really look forward to working with him and his team.
Some people likened the vote on Brexit to the Trump election, that it shocked the world. Brexit did at the time, and the Trump election did as well. I want to ask you about Brexit. This court ruling, now that Parliament has to weigh in, what is the way forward here? Yeah. And is there a timeline when Parliament will have to take this vote to get out of the European Union?
The government was disappointed by the outcome in court, but we respect completely the rule of law. It shouldn't affect the time. There are still, I think, several weeks before the end of March deadline the Prime Minister has set to invoke Article 50. And remember, the judgment was about whether Parliament should be consulted or not about the principle, which was settled when the British people voted so clearly back in June last year.
So in other words, you don't think Parliament would turn around and disregard the referendum?
Well, I don't want to speak for Parliament, and we'll have to see how it comes out. But the indications from party leaders are that they respect the outcome of the referendum. And of course there's going to be debate around the terms of the bill, but everything I have seen and heard so far suggests that the principle that the will of the British people should be respected will carry.
But obviously it's an emotional issue. You have Scotland weighing in, saying they want to possibly push for another independence vote. I mean, do you see that happening?
Well, the Scottish referendum a couple of years ago, it was clear at the time that this was a once-in-a-generation decision, that you wouldn't keep going back to the Scottish people to ask them if they'd change their mind every couple of years. And there was a clear outcome to that referendum as well, and that is it. That's been decided. This is a different issue. This is about our future in the European Union.
Is a one-on-one trade relationship between the U.S. and Great Britain something that Prime Minister May is looking at?
The U.S. is a hugely important trading partner for us. We export 20% of our total exports come to the U.S. There's a huge amount of mutual inward investment. As we leave the EU, a free trade deal between the U.S. and the U.K. will be a top priority. And it's very welcome that the administration here has signalled their willingness, their enthusiasm for that as well. So I'm sure it will be a major subject for discussion between the President and the Prime Minister, and I hope that thereafter we can start to take forward that work.
If that happens and it's all ironed out, the specifics, what do you think that means for the EU? Won't other countries suddenly say, well, it's not worth it to stay under this overview of these regulations and all the things that come with the EU from Brussels, if they look to your experience and it goes well?
Well, Prime Minister gave a speech on Brexit a week ago, and she made it clear in that speech that while we have a clear decision from the British people that we are going to leave, and we see our future as a free trade agreement between the UK and the EU, that we wish the EU well, that the breakup of the euro is no part of our agenda, and that we recognise the important role the EU has played in the stability and prosperity of Europe over the last 50 years. As I say, we wish it well.
You're also a signatory to the Iran deal, and President Trump at least has talked about getting rid of the Iran deal from a U.S. perspective. You think that'll be on the discussion with Prime Minister May in the Oval Office, and where does Britain come down on that?
We'll see how it goes. They've got a couple of hours together, so it can cover a lot of ground. It's going to be focusing on trade, on bilateral relations, and on international security issues. If Iran comes up, we will certainly say that we were part of that deal and that we support it.
Heartily.
Yeah. We support it. We think it has contributed to stability, and that it has set back the Iranian nuclear program, which is an objective that we wanted to see achieved.
Thanks for having us here. Please extend our invite to Prime Minister May whenever she'd like to be on Special Report. She's welcome.
Thank you. I certainly will.
James, we'll send it back to you.
Brett, thank you.